There's something profoundly unique about those who walk the path of the chosen ones. They often seem to exist on the edges of society, disconnected from the world in ways others struggle to understand. Why do these individuals, who carry immense inner power and wisdom, find themselves so frequently alone? It's a question that haunts many who feel spiritually awakened yet isolated. The truth is, their journey is anything but ordinary, and with this path comes sacrifices, relationships that fade away, friends who drift apart, and a solitude that feels both comforting and challenging. What if being alone isn't a curse, but a calling? Chosen ones aren't just misunderstood, they operate on a higher frequency that makes navigating traditional social norms difficult. Small talk feels meaningless, crowded spaces drain them, and they often attract those who need healing but give little in return. It's as if their energy operates on a wavelength most people can't tune into, leading to a natural withdrawal from relationships that no longer align. But what if this isolation serves a higher purpose? What if being alone is the universe's way of guiding them toward a greater alignment with their purpose? Through this exploration, we'll uncover the hidden dynamics behind spiritual isolation. You'll learn why chosen ones struggle with relationships, what it means when friends become distant, and how solitude can be a gift, not a burden. The answers you've been seeking might not be what you expect, but perhaps, that's exactly why you're here. 1. Feeling drained by social interactions. Highly vibrational people are like human batteries, except their energy recharges others, often at their own expense. Social interactions can feel like an invisible drain, especially when they unconsciously act as energetic sponges, absorbing others' emotions. Many find themselves needing more time alone to recover from social engagements that leave them depleted. The reality is, most people don't realize they're drawing energy from those around them, creating a one-sided dynamic that feels exhausting for the chosen ones. This is where the pattern of withdrawal starts: less interaction, more isolation. Have you ever noticed how certain people feel energized after conversations, while others leave you drained? It's no coincidence. These individuals may not intend to tap into someone else's energy field, but the imbalance can weigh heavily. For chosen ones, this energetic toll turns everyday interactions into a marathon, even with seemingly casual encounters. Over time, they begin to avoid large gatherings or even intimate settings that demand emotional presence. Their spiritual isolation becomes almost inevitable as they gravitate toward spaces where their energy isn't constantly drained. This cycle of retreat doesn't mean they dislike people or are incapable of friendships. Instead, it reflects the complex relationship between their need for connection and the protection of their own energetic well-being. Chosen ones struggle with relationships not because they don't care but because the constant drain leaves them without the resources to maintain connections. And in a world that values extroversion, they might find themselves labeled as loners, when all they want is a bit of quiet to recharge. But perhaps, the deeper the isolation, the clearer the understanding of their own power becomes. 2. Challenges with small talk. For highly vibrational individuals, small talk feels like playing a game with no real prize, empty words exchanged just to fill the silence. While most people find comfort in chit-chat, these chosen ones often crave depth, seeking meaningful conversations that align with their spiritual purpose. When the conversation stays on the surface, discussing the weather or trivial events, they struggle to stay engaged. This disconnect makes them seem aloof or uninterested, even though they might just be waiting for the moment someone dives into a topic that truly matters. Small talk is like eating empty calories. It keeps you going for a while, but it doesn't nourish the soul. Chosen ones naturally lean toward discussions about purpose, energy, or the mysteries of the universe, which can alienate them from typical social settings. Their minds wander when conversations lack substance, and they long for the kind of dialogue that fuels personal growth. This preference for depth over pleasantries makes them selective about whom they spend time with, often reinforcing their struggle with relationships. This tendency to avoid small talk also means they can miss out on casual friendships that could have grown into something more. But the spiritual isolation of chosen ones isn't accidental, it's often a choice to preserve their energy for the people and conversations that truly resonate. Their aversion to superficial exchanges makes it hard to find connections in a world where small talk is the norm, leaving them wondering if anyone else sees the world as they do. And yet, perhaps in the moments between silence and meaningful words, they find the peace they seek. 3. Fear of being judged or misunderstood. Highly vibrational individuals often feel like they're walking on a tightrope, constantly balancing their truth with the fear of judgment. Their beliefs or practices may not align with societal norms, leaving them vulnerable to misunderstandings. Sharing their spiritual journey or unconventional perspectives can feel like handing over a fragile piece of themselves, not knowing if it will be cherished or ridiculed. This fear of being judged pushes many chosen ones into solitude, making it difficult to build genuine relationships. Imagine trying to explain your fascination with energy healing or astral projection to someone who dismisses it as nonsense. That fear of rejection or being labeled too different weighs heavily. Even in close relationships, chosen ones may find themselves withholding parts of their truth to avoid conflict. This emotional self-censorship can become exhausting, leading them to keep their distance from people who don't resonate with their path. Over time, this pattern reinforces the spiritual isolation of chosen ones, further deepening the divide between them and the outside world. What's ironic is that many chosen ones deeply desire connection, yet their fear of being misunderstood becomes a barrier. They long for someone who sees beyond the surface, someone who gets it without needing explanations. But instead of forcing connections that drain them, they learn to cherish those rare moments of alignment. And in the process, they might realize that the journey of finding kindred spirits begins with accepting that not everyone will understand, but the right ones eventually will. 4. Sensitivity to energetic imbalances. Highly vibrational individuals walk into a room and feel the atmosphere shift. Whether it's subtle tension or someone's unspoken sadness, they pick up on energies that others might miss entirely. This heightened awareness makes them sensitive to places and people whose vibrations clash with their own. When relationships carry heavy energy or unresolved negativity, chosen ones instinctively distance themselves. It's not personal, it's survival. They've learned that staying in those environments can drain their vitality and disrupt their emotional balance. Have you ever felt uneasy around someone without knowing why? That's the kind of energetic imbalance chosen ones feel on a much deeper level. They notice patterns, how a certain friend always leaves them emotionally spent or how certain spaces sap their joy. It's not about being judgmental, it's about recognizing energetic dynamics. Many chosen ones find peace by retreating from toxic environments, even when it means sacrificing social connections. Their need to protect their energy often outweighs the desire for companionship. This sensitivity can create an unintentional pattern of isolation. They prefer solitude over draining relationships, leading them to spend more time alone or with a very small circle of like-minded individuals. But rather than seeing this as loneliness, they view it as alignment, a way of staying true to their higher selves. Chosen ones struggle with relationships not out of disinterest, but because the wrong energy can disrupt their inner harmony. And as they navigate this energetic landscape, they learn that preserving their peace is not just a choice, it's a necessity. 5. Attracting people in need of healing. Chosen ones seem to carry an invisible sign that says, "I can help you heal." Their high vibrational energy acts like a beacon, drawing in people who are emotionally wounded or seeking comfort. While they naturally radiate compassion, this attraction can lead to relationships that feel one-sided. They often find themselves in the role of healer or emotional anchor, giving endlessly while receiving little in return. Over time, this dynamic becomes exhausting, leaving them emotionally drained and reinforcing the need for solitude. Imagine constantly attracting people who come to you with their problems but rarely offer the same support in return. For highly vibrational individuals, these interactions feel like trying to fill a bottomless well. It's not that they don't care, on the contrary, they care deeply. But carrying the weight of others' emotional baggage can leave them feeling overwhelmed. As they realize that not every relationship is sustainable, they learn to set boundaries, even though it's never easy to turn someone away who's in need. Over time, chosen ones may begin to retreat, not because they don't want friends but because the constant healing role leaves no room for reciprocity. Their spiritual isolation becomes a defense mechanism, a way to preserve their own energy. Yet, even in isolation, they continue radiating healing energy, knowing that not every connection is meant to last. As they navigate the fine line between compassion and self-preservation, they uncover the truth: the right relationships will never feel like a burden, only a balance. 6. Attraction to solitude for spiritual alignment. For chosen ones, solitude isn't loneliness, it's liberation. Time alone allows them to connect with their higher selves, align with their inner purpose, and restore their energy. In silence, they find clarity that the noise of the world drowns out. This craving for solitude is not about avoiding people but about embracing the stillness necessary for spiritual alignment. It's in these moments of quiet that their creativity flows, and their purpose becomes clear. Solitude for highly vibrational individuals feels like stepping into sacred space. Away from external distractions, they can explore their thoughts, emotions, and visions freely. The absence of constant interaction gives them the chance to recalibrate, ensuring their energy remains in harmony with the universe. This retreat into quiet spaces is essential for them to maintain their high frequency, a practice that others might not understand. To some, their preference for solitude might seem odd, but for chosen ones, it's a lifeline. The irony is that the more they embrace solitude, the less they feel compelled to explain themselves. Chosen ones struggle with relationships not out of arrogance, but because they understand the value of energy and time. They seek out only those connections that feel spiritually enriching, bypassing superficial relationships altogether. In the end, solitude becomes not just a preference but a practice, one that opens doors to deeper understanding in alignment with the path they were meant to walk. Now that you understand the deeper dynamics of why chosen ones are often alone, how will you embrace this path? Will you see solitude as a burden or a necessary step toward aligning with your higher self? The journey isn't about fitting into a world that doesn't resonate with your frequency, it's about creating a space where you thrive. How will you guard your energy, set boundaries, and seek meaningful connections without compromising who you are? It's time to reflect: what relationships in your life lift you, and which ones drain your soul? Are you ready to let go of what no longer serves you and trust that the right people will align when the time is right? The spiritual isolation of chosen ones isn't a punishment, it's preparation. And the real question is, are you ready to embrace this gift? Subscribe to the channel and activate notifications so you don't miss out on more insights like these. Continue expanding your consciousness by watching the recommended video that you see on the screen right now.